Hi guys, welcome back to the extended Pentagon challenge. This is part 33 and we are in South Korea with Ulsan Hyundai and also with the national team of South Korea. So as you remember in the last episode, we ended up winning the title and the FA Cup. We fell short in the Champions League. We lost to Seoul FC in the final in extra time. Bit of a disappointing result really. So I've played through obviously the end of that, the end of those, the last few fixtures of the last season, and a few fixtures of this season, like I have done in the past few episodes, during my time in South Korea. I think the first thing to cover is the transfers. So we basically, I guess the team was pretty much ready. You know, I didn't need to really do too many changes, but there's always areas you can improve. And the first area I thought I could improve was to do with actually Lorenzo Andrietta. He's obviously been a very good player for us, and actually the club, lists him amongst the favoured personnel. So the fans like him and everything. But I felt I could do better than him in central midfield. And to be honest, if you have a foreign player, you really need them to be actually of considerable stature and quality. Not to say that he wasn't, but I think he wasn't necessarily super outstanding. So he we sold him for 1.3 million to Nottingham Forest. Obviously he's worth a lot more now because he's in the European leagues, and the value just skyrockets. So he went out for 1.3 million. We've also sold some youngsters. So Young Sung Min, never really. I mean, he might have actually got a few games later on, but his rating wasn't all that, to be honest. And he goes away. He goes out to St Gallen for 400k. Kim Won Jai, again, didn't see any value in him. Sold him on to John Book for 14.5k. With a lot of these youngsters, I'm actually putting 50% of the next transfer fee clauses in there, just in case they become big stars, and for whatever reason we can then get quite a bit of money back. Lee Seung In, he went to Jeonnam for 8.25k. Wee Sung Yan, he's gone out. He's gone to Suwon FC, who came up this season, and Park Hwa Sung has also left. All youngsters, all 2 to 3 star rated, and not really necessary to keep them at the club. So the big changes were the following. So we brought in Lee Sang-hyuk. He came in, can play both right and left back. At the club there was really a bit of a lack of fullbacks, just simply cover as well. And this guy obviously is South Korea's pretty much, I think, left back. So, and obviously as the national selector, I've seen him play, and he's played very well. So bringing him in should actually help to provide a lot of depth at that position. He's South Korean, so no limitation on registrations and whatever or to do with him. The next guy, Luis Barreto, is actually the reason why Andrietta started to look probably not good enough. I thought bringing a Barreto, who is a great striker for this level, and bringing a South Korean, another South Korean central midfielder. And really, I think I'd have an absolutely ridiculous front line. Luis Barreto, 16 finishing, 16 penalty taking, 16 dribbling, composure, pace, acceleration, strength. I mean, he's actually very close to for me like a complete forward at this level. His best role is a shadow striker. Obviously, he's very good on the ball. So he comes in, obviously big wages, but I'm not too bothered about that. I mean, we're a bit over the wage bill, but we're making a lot of money. We're doing, we are one of the top clubs in Asia, and I'm thinking, I need to, really rub a stamp in probably what is my final season at Ulsan. A team, a young team as well, that will take this club forward for the next kind of 10 years. So he came in, and the guy who will fill in for Andrietta in midfield is Kim Jong-hoi. Comes in for 1.4 million from Seoul. Again, you look at his stats; they're pretty similar to Andrietta's, if not slightly, marginally better. I think he's a good player to fill in, and he's Korean, which is always a bonus. 4-star rated, certainly. So I thought that was good business actually that we did there. We spent 1.95, we got back 1.94. Break even, and I think overall we actually improved the team. So moving on, I'll show you the fixtures first. So fixtures, and we start at the end of last season. So there's that awful result against Seoul. Well, it wasn't that awful, but awful that we didn't win the Champions League. And I think there was a bit of obviously players a bit disappointed. So we then went and beat Jeju, Cha In-ho and Dusan Kanaki, getting the goals. 3-0 up within 11 minutes. Jeju only scoring 3 minutes from time. We won that game. We were already champions. And anyway, so it didn't really matter. Seoul away, obviously always a difficult game. We dominated, but couldn't break them down, 0-0. But again, didn't matter. And the final game of the season was actually Jeonnam Dragons at home. And a pretty disappointing performance, actually, from us. Didn't really create much. Seguro Kaneko cancelled out Rodolfo Lopez's goal. And then right at the end, Choi Jae-young ended up scoring an own goal in the 91st minute. Jeonnam thinking they've won it, but Dusan Kanaki goes up the other end, puts the ball in the back of the net. Saves our blushes, and 2-2 as we celebrate winning the title, but not the Champions League. So the new season started, and we actually had a training camp in Brazil. I had a fair few options, and I decided, well, why not go to the sunny climes of Brazil for this? So we played a couple of friendlies out in Brazil, and we beat Inter de Limeira by 7-0. Sandro with a hat-trick, Dusan Kanaki, Cha In-ho, Tatsuki Sasaki and a Luis Antonio own goal. Finished the scoring as we demolished our opposition in Brazil. Followed that up with a game against Poções, where we actually won 6-0. Ryu Sing-woo, Hung Chul, Jose Carlos own goal, and Luis Barreto finishing things off in the scorers, as we won the game by 6-0 and a very nice performance indeed. Next friendly was against Police, and a 3-0 win. It was Kim Jong-hoi and Kwon Chang-hoon getting the goals, as we beat the military side by 3-0. So simple stuff, and a good pre-season was materialising. Gangneung City next, 4-1 win. Tatsuki Sasaki, Ryu Seung-woo, Hong Chul and Seong-il or Cheon-il Su own goal finished up scoring, as our pre-season really was was absolutely perfect at this point, and it continued. Goyang High FC next, 6-1 win. Luis Barreto with 2, Sandra with 2, Kim Jong-hoi with 1, and Ko Jae-young with the other, as we ran out 6-1 winners. The final game of the final friendly was against Sangju, the team who had a miraculous fall from fame, really, as the season before last they were actually challenging for the title for quite a portion, then got unceremoniously relegated the next season. But we beat them 5-2. It was actually we fell behind early, so good to see that we came back. But Dusan Kanaki with 2, Ryu Sing-woo with 2, and Tatsuki Sasaki with 1. Ryu Sing-woo actually has come back from his military service, which lasted 2 years. Which he's a good little player, and I think he'll actually add to the team. He's now 31 days, so probably only having a couple more seasons with him. As you can see, 69 appearances for Police there. We then played Yokohama F Marinos in the AFC Champions League, and our group was Yokohama F Marinos, Guangzhou Evergrande of China, and Muangfong of United of Thailand. So Japanese, Chinese, and Thai opposition, which tends to be generally what we get. So the Yokohama game, 2-0 win. Dusan Kanaki with both goals. A very nice start to our campaign as we look to regain the AFC Champions League. And Yokohama probably the best team in the group. Debatable whether it's them or Guangzhou behind us. So nice to win away by 2-0 to start off the campaign the right way. We then started the league campaign in kind of indifferent fashion. Went 1-0 down against Jeonnam Dragons, and then Luis Barreto getting his debut goal as we equalised things at 1-1. But pretty disappointing in the end, as we really didn't show up as normal, and we dropped our first points of the league season in the first game. Next up would be Jeju, and we returned to form, a 5-1 win. Jeju, as you know, have always been reasonably difficult opposition for us. There seemed to be a bit of a bogey side for us, so nice to dispatch them in emphatic fashion. Kim Jong-hoi, Cha In-ho, Seguro Kaneko, and Luis Barreto with 2, and Park Byung-min getting the only goal for Jeju, as we won 5-1 on the day. We went back to the Champions League, and this time we hosted Guangzhou Evergrande at home and ran out 4-1 winners. Luis Barreto, Dusan Kanaki, Kim Jong-hoi with 2 goals actually in injury time, and David Mingeti getting the only goal for Guangzhou as we ran out 4-1 winners in a very dominant display against the Chinese team. And we would then move on to more AFC action as we went away, or rather hosted, Wang Fong United in the Ulsan Mintsu football stadium. And Park Hee-young had a great game, scored a hat-trick. Kim Sung-jae, Luis Barreto finishing off the scoring. Rafael Ortega getting the only goal for Wang Fong. And again, very dominant display as we pretty much booked our place in the next round in all but mathematically, really. Jeon booked next away, and a very tidy win against last year's vice champion, shall we call them, as they didn't win the title, we did, but they ran us pretty close at times last season, so nice to start off with a good win against them when we've played them. So Cha In-ho, Kim Jong-hoi and Park Hee-young getting the goals for us, Renatinho and Radenko Basilia getting the goals for Jeonbuk, but a 4-2 win, and very tidy indeed as we moved on, and great form now was materialising for us in the league. We hosted Suwon FC, newly promoted, not to be confused with Suwon Bluebirds, who are the good team from Suwon. Or I guess that's now debatable, as Suwon Bluebirds seem to be floundering a bit over the past few seasons. But yes, this is Suwon FC, and we beat them 4-0. Kwon Chang-hoon, Dusan Kanaki, Park Hee-young, and Kim Jae-woo getting the goals in a 4-0 win. Next up, we had it went back to the Champions League as we this time hosted Yokohama F. Marinos and completed a nice 4-0 win as we qualify for the next round. Dusan Kanaki, Park Hee-young with 2, and Norihisa Oba own goal finished off the scoring, and F. Marinos really didn't do anything all game as we dominated thoroughly. Then Seongnam, and we were stringing together quite a lot of clean sheets, and this was another one. Ko Jae-young, Park Hee-young, and Kim Jong-hoi getting the goals, as again another dominant performance against Seongnam, and 3-0 winners on the day. Next, Daejeon, another clean sheet away. Kim Jong-hoi and Tatsuki Sasaki getting the goals later on in the second half, so made us sweat a little bit for it, but in the end we got there, and it was a very nice performance indeed. And another clean sheet in a row as we went away to Thailand from Wang Fong United. A 3-0 win. Cha In-ho, Luis Barreto and Kwon Chang-hoon getting the goals. Dominant performance again, as we just padded the cherry on top in the AFC Champions League Group E. And it would be followed up straight away by Guangzhou Evergrande, and this was a fantastic performance. All right, we let in 2 goals, but we absolutely demolished them in China as we actually kicked them out of the competition, and I think either on goal difference or results against other teams, but certainly this defeat really did stamp them out. F. Marinos actually qualified with us. I'll actually do a little roundup of the AFC action, but Guangzhou going into this game needed obviously something. If they got anything, they could potentially go through with us, but it wasn't to happen. A 6-2 win. Ko Jae-young, Luis Barreto, Dusan Kanaki and Park Hee-young getting the goals. Luis Barreto with a hat-trick, and Lee Jianglin and Wu Lei for Guangzhou, but we ran out 6-2 winners and a fantastic performance in the end. To just cover the AFC Champions League, actually, this is how the group finished for us. I'll just give a quick summary of where we're up to in the AFC Champions League and how the group's finished. So Al Ain of United Arab Emirates won their group in emphatic fashion. Qatar Sports Club finishing second. Naft Tehran of Iran and El Ettifaq of Saudi Arabia are going home. Al Gharafa of Qatar qualified top from Group B. Very tight group this one. Al Jazeera of UAE in second place. Fulad and Al Hilal going home. Al Hilal, you'll remember, are actually a mainstay, generally speaking, in the later stage of the competition, so they'll be disappointed with that. Group C, Al Saad, a very good side from Qatar, getting through with Al Ittihad of Saudi Arabia. Going home are Lokomotiv Tashkent of Uzbekistan, and Istigal of Iran. In Group D, Taraktor Sazi, probably the best team in Iran at the moment, going through with Bunikdor Toshkent of Uzbekistan, Lekwiya and Al Shabab going home of Qatar and Saudi Arabia respectively. Probably quite disappointing for them. I think they would have expected one of them to at least get through in instead of the Uzbeki side, but not to be. In our Group E, Ulsan, we absolutely stormed away with it. 18 points. Yokohama F. Marinosh getting through with us. Guangzhou Evergrande, very disappointed for them as they actually go home in the group stages. I think they've got through the groups pretty much every year that we've been in this competition. And Wangfong United obviously didn't pick up a point, and they'll be going home back to Thailand with nothing. Group F, Pohang Steelers, our rivals actually are in this competition, and they got through to the. I think they're in this competition actually because of the cup final. Normally, the winner of the cup actually qualifies for the Champions League, but since obviously we won the league and would have qualified anyway through our league position, I think they qualified, and they've done very well actually. They won their group, and Sydney FC qualified with them. And they've knocked out Urawa Reds of Japan, who probably would have been fancying getting through that group. Dalian Urban also going home, as the Chinese teams didn't fare well in the first two groups. Group G, Jeju of South Korea again top in the group, doing very well there. Guizhou Rene going through with them. Buriram United of Thailand actually didn't finish bottom, so I'm sure they'll be happy with that. But Kawasaki Reysol of Japan finishing bottom, having an abysmal campaign, and they'll be going home, unfortunately for them. Group H, and Beijing Guan performing well as they won the group from Kashima Antlers of Japan. Jeonbuk actually going home from South Korea. They'll be very disappointed they couldn't get through that group. But in the end, it wasn't enough, 10 points. So, a little bit unlucky, but I guess sometimes you make your own luck, and they didn't do enough. Al Shabab of UAE completely completely out of it in the group, finishing with no points, and I'm sure they'll want to improve next time they qualify, because that's a pretty poor performance from them. So that's the AFC Champions League. Looking at the second round, Al Ain will play Bunyakdor Tashkent, so I'm expecting Al Ain to get through that. Al Gharafa versus Al Ittihad, that's going to be a tough game. I'm going to back Al Ittihad to get through that one. Al Saad versus Al Jazeera, probably Al Saad, I would say, all day long. Taraktor Sazi versus Qatar Sports Club, I'm going to back Taraktor actually on that one. I think they've underperformed for a few seasons, but I think they'll actually be coming back. I think. And I think I fancy him to get through against Qatar. Ulsan v Antlers. Well, I guess I can't not back us, but we'll see what goes down with that one. Pohang Steelers versus Guizhou Rene. You know what? I fancy Pohang to beat Guizhou. I know Guizhou obviously it's a tough Chinese team, good side. I think they've won a few titles actually. If I go to the I think they won a title last season in China, so that's stiff opposition. There's no doubt about that for Pohang, but I think they'll get through that. I'm sensing a Derby Champions League game sometime in the future. Jeju Sydney. I'm backing Jeju. They're one of our baby teams. I think they'll have enough to dispatch Sydney. And Beijing Guan against Yokohama F. Marinosh. I'm going to say pluck for Beijing in this one. I think F. Marinosh, only just got out of the groups. Beijing did win their group. I'll bat them to get through. So so that's the AFC Champions League. I'll actually be covering two games for you today. I'm going to cover both legs of the Antlers game, so maybe a little bit of a longer episode. But I thought you guys, deserve to see a full round of the Champions League. Next game up, and our first loss against Pohang Steelers, and they've been having a very good start to the season. Vladimir Govolov got them off to a perfect start. Chai and Ho did respond for us, but at 88th minute, Jung Jin Sub getting the goal that won them the game. We keep having problems against Pohang in the league, especially away. I haven't really found what the best. I normally go control against them. Maybe I should start going a counter, but so that was a good win for them actually, and I think that's put them in a little bit of a very good, very good position actually at this point in the season. Suwon next, and Suwon have an atrocious season at the moment, so we expect to beat them. Kim Jong-hoi, Luis Barreto getting off 3 goals, Michael Hess getting one back late for Suwon, but the misery for Suwon continues as they're now looking squarely at the relegation places and probably the relegation league split once the full fixtures are done. So let's just cover the league table, and as you can see, we are top from Seoul by 2 points. So Seoul obviously resurgent this year. Pohang Steelers doing very well in 3rd place actually, only 3 points behind us. Jinan Dragons on 14 points, again doing reasonably well. Jeonbuk 13 points, again they're still in and around it. Daejeon also doing pretty well. Then Seongnam, about where you'd expect them. Daegu, who newly promoted Daegu, actually doing reasonably well at the moment. Busan, about where you'd expect them. Suwon, that's the one where you're thinking, wow, they have fallen from grace. I mean, this team were one of the biggest teams in South Korean football, and they, at the moment, things are going from bad to worse. You can see them being another Sangju at the moment. Jeju, not having the greatest of seasons, as they, propping up one of the relegation places. And Suwon FC, the rivals of Suwon Bluebirds, at the bottom of the league, as probably one would expect. They've shipped a hell of a lot of goals so far, 31 goals in total, already conceded in 9 games. That's got to be a worry. If we just look through Suwon FC's fixtures, I think we'll see some heavy defeats in there. Yeah, 5-1 from Seoul, 4-0 from us, 4-0 from Pohang, 3-0 from Seongnam, 3-0 from Daejeon. It's not been a happy start to the season. They've, in fact, the only game they won was against Daegu, and that was 5-4. So they still conceded 4 goals. So I think their defence is just not up to scratch. I don't expect them to be here very long. Their club's only worth 1 million. I don't know what reason that is. Maybe it's state-owned or something like that, because that's a bit like Police, also only have £1 value. Let's look quickly at the players. Let's look at selection info and ratings. So Kim Jae-woo only played 1 game, so he don't really count. But Kim Jong-hoi, newly brought in, he's been having a great season, 7.82 rating. He scored 9 goals for a centre midfielder. That's very good. Next up, Luis Barreto, another new signing, 7.8 rating, 10 in 13. He's been fantastic, as has Dusan Kanaki, 6 in 13. But look at the assists. The assists are the important part, 11 assists. So the guy creates a lot of goals. He's a very creative striker and feeds a lot of people in. King Som-soo, right back, doing very well, very solid. Park Hee-young didn't play as much last season, bit resurgent into the team this season, especially with the improvements that have been made, and he's got a lot of goals. Maybe not in the league, but in Asia, in the AFC Champions League, he's done very well. And he's looking like he did cost us 7 million. I know he's not worth that, but he's got 25 goals and 63 appearances. That's not bad for a guy like him. Cha Hin-ho, 4 in 14, but yeah, he's been having a good season. You can see a lot of guys have been having a very good season actually. So have a look at that. I think I'm pretty happy with the team. I think it's probably as strong as it's ever been since my tenure here. It's probably the strongest team I've obviously managed. There's no doubt about that. In this career anyway. So I'm very happy with how things are going in the squad and the performances at the moment. South Korea, we have played a few more games. Last I left you, we had Czech Republic to play. We lost that game by 2-1 at home. Difficult opposition, really. Yakubov getting 2 goals pretty soon up, one after the other. Kim Yong-koo getting 1 back for us. Well, we did probably have the better of it, but they're a very good side, very clinical, and a 2-1 loss, I guess, is one of those things you just sometimes have to accept you're not as good. We started this year very well. Turkmenistan up first in the qualifiers, as the Asian Cup qualifiers have actually started in earnest, and a good win, 3-0. Lee Jong-ho, Park Hyun-suk and Park Yang-ju have scored the goals to win the game as we dominated Turkmenistan. You remember a while back me talking about Hon Seong-min, that the South Korean bloke who's obviously probably one of the best South Korean strikers there's ever been. Well, yeah, I remember me saying, oh yeah, I brought him back from international retirement. Well, I made a bit of a mess up. I didn't call him up right after that, and he decided he was going to just go back into retirement and felt embarrassed, and I think I kind of blew any chance of him coming back. But I don't think it's too much of a problem. Next up in Egypt, Alexandria, we played Egypt, and great performance, great result, a 3-1 win, dominant against a good side really in Egypt. Remember when we were Nigeria manager, Egypt were clearly one of the better sides in the continent, and Park Hyun-suk with 2, Park Yang-ju with 1, Ahmed Ataya getting 1 back for Egypt, but a very good win there as we try and persevere with South Korea. Next up, actually, we've got in June Brazil up. I'm sure that will be a very interesting game because I'm sure we're going to lose. There's no doubt about that. They've still got Neymar, 33. He's still good. I think he just won the World Player of the Year. This Toninho bloke. Brazil are a good side. They're third in the world. It'll be very interesting to see how we do against them. And maybe stern test. If we could get a draw, that'd really perk me up as far as South Korea goes. Anyway, guys, let's move on as quickly as we can to the AFC games. They're back to back, so I'm gonna just go through these, and you're gonna go through with me these 2 legs. So Antlers up, Kashiwa Antlers, and I'm hoping we can actually defeat them here. So we're at home. I'm sure control is the best tactic for this. We're surely favourites against them. Yeah, we are. So let's do this quickly. Give him a bit of a pep talk. And let's change this to key and bring it back down to the usual level. I never know whether that's one. No, yeah, that's right. And let's start and go pitch. So Antlers in red, Ulsan in blue, and this is the first highlight of the game. So important that we get an early lead in the tie really. And here's the first action. So Kim Sung-soo, Park Hee-young, back to Kim Sung-soo, and it's Sung-jae to Kaneko with the ball, brings it to Jae-young, to Jung-hoi, loses out, poor there, and Ikea can break here for the Kashiwa Antlers, and he's running down the wing, brings it inside to Sugawara plays it forward but headed away. Nice coverage. Kanaki can now gets it. Barreto, the Paraguayan, new signing, feeds it out wide to the German. Back to Barreto. Lovely football inside. Ko Jae-young, great save, but he can't save the second one, and it's 1-0 Ulsan. Great goal. Good movement there. Good. We broke well there. Kanaki and Barreto working nicely down that left wing, and it allowed in for the goal as we lead 1-0 here. And very nice to be able to say that. As we're waiting for the next highlight, and Sung-soo Young. Oh, he's given a penalty. Is he saying that was a trip there? Ball comes in. You don't often see this from a throw-in. He's either a push in the back or a trip, and could be a soft penalty here. But Barreto, he's good at penalties, puts it in the back of the net. 2-0 Ulsan, and this is turning potentially into a very, very nice day. We're going to go counter. We're now 2-0 up, so I'm expecting obviously Antlers to try and get something out of this game. An away goal obviously changes everything really in terms of how you look at it. But Asinama, and that's going to be Yang Don-won's ball, and he's going to feed it out wide to Sung-jae. Looks inside, finds Kaneko, the Japanese international. Barreto, lovely. Jae-young out wide to Kanaki. On the wing. Jae-young finds himself in space. Can he cross? Oh, that was a cross-come shot, and Kobayashi can save that nicely as we head towards half-time, and Ulsan 2-0 up here, so not bad. And then let's send them back out. So the second half now, and I think we're doing pretty well so far. 2-0 is a decent result. Be nice to get a third, puts the pressure off for the second game, but got to not concede. Asanuma into the box and away from Kaneko, and Asanuma back in. Ikea turns, shoots. Ooh, good save. Jang Don won there with the save, and Kim Sung Jai bringing it out. So a little warning there from Antlers. He swiveled nicely on the ball there, but the shot was straight at the keeper. So 59 minutes up. Sung Soo to Hee Young. Sung Soo, Jong Hoi, Jai Young, Kaneko. Looking out wide, no, he's come back inside. And this is Sung Jai getting a lot of space here. And he puts it up to Kanaki. Kanaki, Barreto, 3-0. Brilliant move, brilliant goal. Ulsan surely now got one foot in the quarterfinals here. Lovely movement again. Kanaki and Barreto linking up very nicely. Putting Kanaki in one of those kind of wide strike positions, he's very, very good. Takuku, and that's away. And Tsunami there. Wow, what a name. Takakaku. Oh, it's Yazawa. Antlers have an away goal. Juichi Yazawa gets one back for Antlers. And that will be disappointing for Ulsan. The key thing was not to concede an away goal. And that's no longer going to happen. So Sandro going to be brought on here. Centre backs have not had a greatest game, but we've got none on the bench. Hoon on for Hoyt, and let's get a fourth goal would be lovely here. Just I like that 3-goal cushion. 2 goals, and especially if they win 2-0 in Japan, we'd be out. So not a bad result, but could have been better. Jung Sung Jai, Kanaki out wide, crosses, and that's away from Asanuma. And Kanaki can pick this up. Sung Jai, Jai Young, Kanaki! It's 4-1. And there's the fourth, and that's exactly what we wanted. And a great finish from the German as Ulsan take a very commanding position now. Surely not much time now for Kashiwa Antlers to respond. Ikea on the ball. Okamoto. And that's the end of that. 4-1 here in Ulsan. Ulsan win. And a nice result, really. Nice performance as we're going into the second leg. So, good performance there, I think. I thought we did really well. Disappointing to let in that away goal, but, in the end, we got a 3-goal cushion. We should be able to manage that going into the second game, really. I'm at least confident of that. So, moving on. And Larson, he's a youngster. So yeah, guys, I mean, we're about 10 seasons in now. Maybe this is the 11th season, actually. So it's going quite well. We've completed, I think it's 5 countries now. We've completed Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Peru, and obviously South Korea is already complete, albeit that we're still here. We've obviously won one on the Pentagon. One of the points in the Pentagon is in the AFC Champions League, and we've won one of the points in the Pentagon, so to speak, of the international competitions, which is nice. So going all right, not too bad. I think Salazar's now about 37 years old, 36, 37. Let's have a quick butchers at what his age is. Yeah, 38 now. So he's getting on. I remember me saying a while back that the idea around this was actually that if it's going to be difficult to complete it in one manager's lifetime, so to speak. I don't really want to go with Andres Salazar until he's 150. I know the game stops counting age at 100, but I'll probably retire him at something like 75, 80, because at the end of the day, it's just unrealistic that managers would keep going into their 90s, 100s. Just wouldn't happen. But then obviously, what I want to do is bring in a son. So we've got to start thinking at some point about, where would that son be born? Because he's now 38. So, maybe he's going to be a South Korean, Spanish manager coming through later on. Anyway, that's well into the future, and obviously I'll discuss that when it comes up. But now it's time for the second leg, and Park Hee-young in the centre. No, I'm going to give Sasaki a game. Let's give Sasaki a game. Barreto, Kanaki, Sasaki, Ko Jae-young, Kim Jong-hoi. Yeah, that looks like the team. And let's go ahead to this. So 4-1 lead. Going into the leg in Japan. We're big favourites actually. I'm gonna stick to attack because I don't want to draw them onto me. Really, I know when we were in Peru against the big finals against Alianza, what tended to happen is we win the away leg and then go counter. But to be honest, I think I'd rather this time see if they want to take us on, and they'll know that we won't just be counter-attacking. We'll be actually looking to control the game. Already had 10 shots to their none, so not feeling too threatened at the moment by them. I think if they get a couple of goals, then I will be. But it's no highlights at the moment. This is actually, surprising. We've probably made this quite boring. Kanaki out wide to Chai In-ho. Back to Kanaki. Crosses and well away actually. Chai In-ho looking for the pass. Kim Jong-hoi. Kaneko inside. Barreto. That's the away goal. That's 1-0 Ulsan. And that now means Antlers need 4 goals to force extra time. And that's looking very unlikely considering the first half display. So the away goal, Barreto getting it. Nice movement again. The guy looks pretty lethal, the Paraguayan. So I'm pretty happy with the acquisition. And Kim Sung-jae down the wing. Looking to cross. Kanaki. Oh, he's fooled. Oh, somehow he fooled the goalkeeper with the header. Hits the post, comes back, and the defender did very well to put him off. And just couldn't quite get there. But Chai In-ho with a shot, and Kobayashi's got that covered all day long. And still 1-0 here as we go into half time. And looking very nice at the moment with this. I think now we'll just drop to counter. No point keep gunning along. Let's drop to counter. They need a lot of goals. They're going to have to open up, come at us to try and force them in, and we can then hopefully hit them on the counter as we go along. So 61 minutes played, and we lead 1-0 on the night, 5-1 on aggregate, with a very nice cushion here against Antlers. And again, nothing happening. Just looks like it's amazing actually. I'm actually going to make a few substitutions because we're almost at the end of the game. So let's bring off Sasaki. Let's bring off Kanaki. Let's bring off Kanaki as well, and let's bring on June in for Young. And no highlights, guys. So it's disappointing actually this second leg. I guess we'd done the job. Probably what I'd like to see as a manager. Pretty dull game. We win 1-0. Antlers didn't do the job, and we're through to the next round, quarterfinals. Here we come. As good performance. That's the kind of second leg you want when you've just had a game like that. So that is the second. That is the second round complete. I don't think the draw's for a while actually, so I'm not going to go ahead and try and see who we get. Anyway, when I come back, we will be at the start of the league split. So I'll probably show you the first game in the league split or some pertinent game around then. Hope you enjoyed that. We're through to the quarterfinals. You got 2 games today, so hope you enjoyed it. And this was episode 33, and I'll see you in episode 34.